For now, Fred, you're in charge of the house. So you're going to see that leadership from Fred on and off the court. He's cut in the mold of Kyle. Very competitive. He will lead his team. He knows what needs to be done and the timing. And then off the court too, you've got a guy who's grown in Toronto. He's become a dad. He's maturing. So he's very deliberate in what he does off the court because he knows the impact that it has with his teammates, with his franchise, with the community and the society at large. So I think you're going to see Fred really grip that leadership mantle and run with it. And he is the guy that's going to lead them both on and off the court. And by the way, he's a big shot guy too. If you remember the Raptors franchise record for points in a game, Fred VanVleet.
Absolutely. He broke Moses Malone's record, which was even more impressive, just incredible. But, when I think about veteran leadership on this team as well, you have to talk about Goran Dragic because,
Yes.
Even though he may have started off a little rough in this Raptors franchise, he's definitely stepped up as a leader already. He's been great in the locker room for the guys. They've been saying that he's been super helpful in guiding through the preseason already. He's 35 years old. He brings that veteran presence. He's been in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
He has also been, one of his first mentors was Steve Nash. And so that just tells you a lot about his demeanor and how he goes about seeing the game. He creates plays. He can see the court well. So, it's something that he really brings to this team. And so another player that we have to talk about in the point guard spot, of course, is Malachi, because his position is changing a little bit in this team.
Yeah, he's moving up a notch.
Exactly.
He was the third point guard last year behind Kyle and Fred. He's stepping up a notch. And again, he's a guy that's cut in the same mold as Fred was when Fred came in, learning from Kyle. Malachi has latched on to Fred. He's going to learn everything from him. And then you watch his game too. Malachi's becoming much more confident on the court too. Not just running the team, but looking for his own shot, looking for his own scoring while running the team. His defense is something that he's going to have to really get into. You think about Kyle and Fred, the way they were as undersized guys defending that point position, they were tenacious. And I think the Raptors saw some of that when they drafted Malachi. But the big thing is, right here, he's back. Well, he's not back. He's in a place that he's going to call home. It won't be piecemealed or mishmashed or put together the way it was last year in Tampa. And I think you're going to see his development take off too. I wouldn't be surprised again if he gets more time, if they continue to maybe use him a little bit in 905, depending on how the work is going here, because the Raptors 905 is never seen as a bad thing.
Yes.
Their developmental process, their developmental capsule has been successful for so many guys. And even last year when Malachi went down, Fred and Kyle said, no, don't treat it as a demotion. Treat it as a chance to work on your stuff.
Yep.
So I'm not saying he's going down, but if that happens, it's something that he can really use to his advantage, again, in the whole development. But right now, he's the guy locked in, to me, right behind Fred.
Absolutely. And Malachi didn't even spend that much time in the 905 last season, yet he's still seen a drastic improvement in his confidence on the court, which later translated to him getting Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month in April. So, 905 is never a bad thing. And somebody who might be seeing a little bit of minutes there, too, could be Delano. He doesn't fit the typical Raptors point guard mold, and the fact that he is 6'9". Just for reference, he's the same size as Kem Birch on this team. But he plays a different game. He's from Nebraska, drafted late in the second round, so he still has some development to go. But his strides have been incredible from the summer league season now to preseason, and so I can only imagine what he's going to do with this upcoming regular season as well. He still has to find, I think, his role, carve it out a little bit more. But I'm looking forward to it. Now, you just heard us covering the point guards. Let's talk about the shooting guard, somebody who's very exciting to watch. He joined the team last season. That is Gary Trent Jr. This will be his first full season. So what do you like about him?
Well, the same thing we talked about in terms of Malachi Flynn. He's had a training camp. He's had a chance to, acclimatize to Toronto, the city, the facility, what he's going to call his new hometown. So it's good for Gary Trent to get that sense of stability. And then you talk about on the court with his ability. He's a guy that's going to come off the bench, and your bench players are supposed to come in and give you something you didn't have, something that will help you change the game. This guy can score it. He's a solid offensive player. has the potential to really explode at times, maybe even a kind of a new age microwave type player. But he gets into a second unit where I think he's going to be featured. I mean, the Raptors play a style that's, with pace and space. And when some of the starters go to the bench, they're going to need to keep that up. And Gary Trent Jr. is a guy that can do it. He can shoot it. He'll take the ball to the goal. And again, he has a great potential to be a high, volatile offensive player.
Absolutely, as we saw last season, even when he came into the Raptors and dropped 40 points in a game before. So, he's bringing that momentum already to this season, and I'm looking forward to seeing that. But, somebody else we have to talk about is Svi Mykhailiuk, a new addition. My producer behind the scenes, he calls him a wild card, and I have to agree because, he's somebody that nobody really saw coming, but he's actually been in the league since 2018.
I've watched him develop, Sav. I know you want to hit on this, but he came in just as a shooter. That's what he does best, but he's realized in order to stay in the league, you got to do more than that.
Yes. Absolutely. Look at you stealing my points. No, honestly though, like as you mentioned, he's more than that, right. And he's a great off-ball player as well, which is just as important because that creates movement in the offense for not only his shot, but to create space for others as well. I think on the defensive end, we might see some more growth this year for some opportunity for that. His role might not be in the he's probably not going to be a starter, let's be honest, but maybe the second or third string, depending on where he could carve himself out to be. But I'm looking forward to seeing where his development will take him as well this year.
Yeah, no, I think he's a guy that, again, as our man Jake LaRue says behind the camera, a real wild card. And we know that Nick Nurse likes to roll the dice and try different combinations. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him call his number off the bench and say, get in there and do your thing. Absolutely.
Got to earn those minutes. We're going to head over now to Sherman Hamilton.
Thanks, Sav. We all know that the three-point shot is a big part of the Raptors' success. And this season, they're going to have to address some things, being able to knock down threes. Last season, this is a top 5 team in terms of three-pointers attempted. So they understand the reliance they have on the three-point shot. But now they have some different characters in the mix. No Kyle Lowry, who was a big part of that three-point success. Now they've got to find different ways to get those shots off. And to me, it's all going to depend on the quality of the looks that are created. This is a team that has always been unselfish. They move the basketball extremely well, and that's created good looks for competent three-point shooters. Now with some new guys in the mix, but the expectation is high that they're going to be able to make shots. You're looking at a team that can spread it out. They have fives who will take and potentially make some threes. And then, guys who we haven't seen in preseason, like a Chris Boucher and a Pascal Siakam. We know Boucher can shoot the three. We're going to see how much Pascal's three-point shot has improved. But I think this team has the ability, with the guards they have, to be able to manufacture very good looks from the three-point shot. And they have enough players who I feel can make a volume of threes that are going to make this team feel comfortable shooting the basketball. So I know this team, they're going to play rangy. We talked about the length they're going to play with in terms of being able to use that versatility, but that versatility can still make shots. And I think you add some veteran presence in there, like a Goran Dragic who can make shots. And, even a young guy like Malachi Flynn, who we're going to see continue to improve. I just think this team has the ability, if they're continuing to move the basketball, break defenses down, get to the guts of the defense and kick it out, attract that second defender. Now they get the quality looks that they can make shots. And I think overall, this team is going to be a pretty good three-point shooting team as we've seen in the past, even though they're missing a key cog who's gone on to Miami.
Nice. Achua. There it is. Sends it to Fred and Gary Trent Jr. Got it. Bucket of the Raptors. Lead at halftime.
We know the point guard spot has been a vital part of the Raptors' success over the last few seasons. And when you look at it now, it's going to look a bit different for this upcoming season. But one thing we know is Fred VanVleet has been there and he's done that. And I think as a lead starting point guard, he's going to be the guy. I love his demeanor. I love his ability to run the team, make plays. And he's gotten his seasoning. He's gotten his tutelage under a Kyle Lowry and understands now who he is completely and can lead this team in terms of being a lead point guard. They brought in a veteran in Goran Dragic, and this is a guy who has been around the league. He's tough as nails. He can make plays. He knows how to play alongside a point guard. He can play your lead point. And for Nick Nurse, we've known in the past, he's liked to play smaller point guards on the floor at the same time. So we're going to see how that plays out. Then you go to Malachi Flynn. Malachi, I thought, did a great job last season with the minutes that he had in terms of proving that he's aggressive, he's got a tough mentality, he's going to come at you defensively, he's very active, has great instincts on that side of the basketball. But I think over the course of this preseason, we've seen Malachi, his shot looks very good in terms of the confidence and his form. And I think that he looks like a guy who's been seasoned last year, had a very good summer, and is coming into this season ready to perform. So it's going to be interesting to see how he fits into the mix. And then, we're talking about the length and the switchability and that ranginess. Well, Delano Banton is another guy who we've seen over the course of this preseason, his ability to handle the basketball, to bring the ball up, run offense, play pick and roll, make good decisions, and really see plays. He hasn't been able to execute it all the time, but that's a young player trying to figure out the next level. But there's no question he's a pass-first mentality. So I think he's another guy you throw in at the point guard mix. And with all four guys that Nick Nurse has at his disposal, he's going to be able to be very active and versatile based on both sides of the basketball, who he rolls out there at that point guard spot.
And Fred loses it, scooped up by Banton. Banton lets it fly. Banks it in! 'Cause he's from here! Yeah!
Let's stay in the backcourt and let's continue to talk about the point guard spot. In the past, we know that Nick Nurse loves to play those smaller point guards. He had Kyle, he had Fred, and those two guys were tough as nails, and they played very well together. They didn't give up any ground on the defensive end. And offensively, you have two ball handlers who are very, very smart, high IQ basketball players that can make plays for themselves and other teammates. So you had a real good combination there. I don't see Nick going away from that in terms of having Goran and Fred on the floor at times and making sure that those two guys get to go out there and play off of each other and continue to run the offense and make plays for teammates and themselves. Goran has that ability, I think, to really play with another point guard and to be a good fit in a situation like that. But what Nick Nurse hasn't had in the past is the ability to throw some length at that point guard spot. And now, from a defensive perspective, be able to use that at the point of attack. Yes, we know he used OG Anunoby to defend quicker point guards or even point guards with a bit more size. But now you have a guy like Delano Banton who, even though he's young, you can use his length at the point of attack and his activity and energy to be disruptive on the defensive end and know that if he gets the ball in his hands, he's going to be able to handle the basketball. So that type of ability to switch it up and make sure that you can play with length or you can play with the small point guards that you want, because Malachi Flynn, being a smaller point guard, can fit into that mix as well. That creates a bit more versatility. And then on the offensive end, when you can have a guy like Fred VanVleet coming off of screens based on someone else handling the basketball, that transfers him to a two spot and he can be aggressive and look for his offense. And I think that's something that Nick Nurse has at his disposal. Whatever Nick Nurse rolls out there, he has the ability to play different ways, different styles at different points of the game, depending on what kind of matchups he has. Coaches want options. Nick Nurse is going to have options as well this season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, when was the last game?
Yeah.
5 months ago, something like that. So definitely, at the beginning of the game, you're a little bit nervous, butterflies, but as soon as the refs throw the ball up, you're ready to go. So, but it's always exciting. It doesn't matter how many years you're in the league. It's always fun. Probably. I mean, I know for a fact they're going to play with a lot of energy. Sometimes that's good, sometimes bad. So you just need to find the balance. And I'm hoping that we can open the game on the right note, not with a lot of turnovers. I think so that's the key. And then, when you swing the ball a couple of times and you run your actions, then everybody settles in and then it's much easier. I was surprised, especially some part of the games this preseason, we look really long. It's a young team, a lot of versatility, and I think so that's going to make a lot of problems for the opponents. And, as long as we get on the same page and play together as a team, I think so we're going to be okay. It's going to be tough to beat us, especially at home. Probably the arena is going to be sold out, You guys didn't play here last year, so it's gonna be a good opening night. Hopefully, we get a dub. I mean, it is different, it's a different city, different people, and then you have a different system of the game. It's way different than Miami. So I've been there for 7 years. So suddenly overnight you have to adjust and everything. But now I'm feeling each day more and more comfortable. At the beginning, first day, second day, it's tough. You need to kind of reset your brains and try to do everything from the beginning. And now that training camp is behind us and we have some preseason games under our belts, it's much easier.
But no, I think we got a good group. These guys have been working all summer. Obviously, the vets added into that coming to training camp. We had a good training camp. I thought we showed signs in preseason, but we won't really know until tomorrow night. So we'll see how we look. I'm sure there'll be bumps and bruises along the way. But I think we're all feeling pretty good about the group that we have. I mean, that's a good way to put it. I wouldn't say it's like unsure or anything like that. I think it's just we got to see it in action and we got to go through adversity. We got to go through late game situations, close games, ups, downs, highs, lows. Like we still have to experience all of that again for the first time, it feels like. So we have obviously a core that's been here. But then there's a lot of new faces that we just have to build that experience with. And so that's the intriguing part. We got to see. I mean, we definitely missed it last year in spots, but I mean, just to have the body, I think you really only needed a couple nights out the year. And luckily Embiid and Drummond is the same night now this year, but or unluckily, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, there's a few bigs still left that play on the block. But again, I think that given the year we had last year, asking Pascal and OG to kind of do that, like that was a lot, you know what I mean? This year we got a lot more bodies to run in and out of that position, and it's not necessarily about the size; it's just about the energy and the fight at those positions. So Kim is not the biggest guy in the world, but I feel great with him out there against anybody, pretty much. Chris Boucher, like. I think just to be able to do it the whole game for two of our main guys, I think that was a lot. But I think we got more bodies this year. Yeah, I mean, that would be great. That would be fantastic if we could have that type of bench unit again. I think we were one of the top benches in the league that year. And you see kind of like how all of our careers have blossomed since. So I would love for this group to be that. Again, we feel good about it. I feel good about all of those guys. They have to do it. They have to go out there and do it, and they have all the capabilities. It's just, something different about those lights out there, and you kind of never know how that's going to go. So hopefully they're up for the challenge, and those spotlights up in the arena will make them make shots, and that's it. The rest is going to be history. So if those guys can step up and make shots and carry the offensive flow, they're going to play hard. They got confidence, they got swag, and they got length, they have versatility. But again, they have to do it. Yeah, you got to learn how to be a pro. You got to understand, especially this year for me, I'm seeing it more than ever because we got a lot of like 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds, you know what I mean? And, yeah, no idea. And I was pretty mature at 20, but I don't know if I was ready for this. You know what I mean? Like, so it's a long day. It's a lot that goes into it, but it can be a short day. You could come 10 minutes before practice and leave 10 minutes after practice. Absolutely. But you have to learn that. Some guys have to learn that. So I think that, learning what it takes to be a pro, like passing up the drink, taking the sleep, you know what I mean? Eating something that you might want to, but you eat right, you sleep, like you stay the extra hour for treatment. You come that extra hour early to get the work in. Like, it's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of wiggle room. And I think that young players have to learn that really fast. And the good thing about it here is that, the standard is already set. And so you just have to find your own rhythm and routine.
Welcome back to Raptors Today. Now we're going to talk about our two-way players, starting with David Johnson. What do you got for me?
Well, David Johnson, I watched him in Summer League. He's got terrific potential. His decision-making, I think, is solid right now. It's got to grow to the NBA level. And the thing I like about him is how hard he plays. And, Sav, I always say this. You get a kid from a certain program, you know how they're going to play. He's a University of Louisville kid. And you think about that program and how way back in the day when they were under Rick Pitino, they were the type of team that played like they were all out all the time. So David Johnson fits that mold. You think of recent Louisville grads like Montrezl Harrell and Gorgie Jang and people like that. David Johnson's cut in that same mold. He's out there. He plays really hard. He's smart. He's tough. I think he's going to develop really, really well in the 905. And he's going down there with a guy that we really like in Justin Champagnie.
Absolutely. Justin Champagnie really showed out well this preseason, earning that two-way contract for sure because, he's a 6'6" guard on paper, but he's not afraid to hit the floor, play bigger than what he actually is. He's a hustler. He's bought into the Raptors culture. So, I'm looking forward to seeing his confidence grow maybe on the offensive end with the 905. And he's also, they're calling him the steal of the undrafted this year. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what his potential could be and if he lives it up as well. So, tomorrow, the Raptors play against the Washington Wizards at 7:30. You could watch it on TSN and listen to it on Sportsnet. I cannot wait. Jonesy.
It's like Christmas night.
Yep.
Those people that celebrate, it's time to get going, and we got 6 more months and all the stories and all the storylines and all the developments coming up. Great time of the year if you're a basketball fan.
Absolutely. It's the best time of the year. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Raptors Today. From Armando, Jake, Paul Jones, I'm Savanna Hamilton, and of course, Sherman Hamilton. Thanks for watching, guys.